Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Peter Babajide. I want to say thank you to the organizers of this program with the theme Empowering African Youth for a Sustainable Future. And I'm going to be talking about youth entrepreneurship and economic growth in Africa. Youth entrepreneurship and economic growth in Africa. Over the years, a lot of people have talked about what entrepreneurship is. We've had a lot of people say that it's about creating solutions to problems. Well, I'm going to digress a little bit today because the idea is we all know what entrepreneurship is. A lot of us know that you need to just do this, to do that, to solve a problem. But the angle I'll be coming from is from the Africa's outlook as a whole. So I need to first let us know what Africa's future outlook is. It will be shocking for you to know that Africa's population is estimated to be about 2.5 billion in the year 2050. And that means that 25% of the global population will be Africans. That is, in every 4 people you see in the world by the year 2050, 1 will be an African. And also there's also a forecast that says that the population of Africans is estimated to increase to 4.2 billion in the year 2100. Like in the next century, we're estimating that Africans in the world would increase to 4.2 billion. And another sweet part is that we are still also going to be a young population. In fact, the median age of Africa is estimated to be 19.9 years in the year 2030, meaning that we will not just increase in our numbers, we will also still be a young population. So what does that tell us? Not just and in fact, there's another statistic that also says that our life expectancy in Africa is expected to rise to over 70 years by 2060. So let me make it clear to you. That is, you are having a young population that still has a long time to be in the world. And not just that, we are like the most important or the major population in the world. 1%, 1 out of every 4 individuals in the world is an African. So what does that tell us? It tells us that as we approach the year 2050, the entire world will be depending on Africa for almost all things related to food, to health, and everything required for survival. I don't know if you understand. It means that everybody in the whole world, when you have a population that is young, the median age as of 2030 is expected to be 19.9. And not just that, you have a population that is much, human capital development focuses on the strength and the number of people. So you're saying that you have 25% of the global population to be Africans, and not just that, you're saying that 1 out of every individual on earth, out of every 4 individuals, that's 25%, is an African. Then they are young, 19.9 years, and also saying that they will stay for up to 70 years on earth. That tells you that the next strength of the world is from Africa. That is, everything that is required for our globe to function is from Africa. So the Americans are going to be depending on us, the Haitians are going to be depending on us, Australians are going to be depending on us, and not just that, our own children are going to be depending on us for survival. So we're talking about 6 more continents depending on Africa for their growth and survival. And so let me shock you. I like to let you know that these statistics, as daunting as they may be, is actually to testify of our importance on earth. Like, it testifies of our capacity to be a game changer in the next coming years. So one of the things I try to ask myself is that as Africans, are we really up to the game? Are we going to fail the world? Are we going to fail a coming generation? Are we going to fail ourselves? Are we going to fail the people that are expected to depend on us? But come on, let me tell you something. I have a good news for you. So, because I'm always a student of history, I like to check. So, based on this problem, have we done something similar in the past? Has it happened before? Have we experienced something like this before, that the whole world is dependent on Africa? And how did we cope? Did we survive? So let me take you down memory lane. Historians talk about a story, fortunately for us, it's in the Bible, about 1600 to 1700 before Christ, BC. There was a time that the whole world was depending on Africa for food. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 41, verse 56, sorry, I'm going to have to be biblical here, said there was famine in the face of the earth. This is a severe famine. I mean, famine that was really, really very serious, that even a man that has the full presence of God upon him, a man who God calls his beloved, Jacob, had to leave where he was to move down to Africa. And guess what? We didn't fail them. Egypt was the only place where there was food. Why? Because we mastered this, as at that time, we mastered how to preserve. So the culture of preservation starts from us. The culture of expansion starts from us. So 1600 to 1700 BC, we've done it before. And so the question is, can we do it again? Yes, we can. We've done it before. We created a change in the world when the whole world was depending on us for survival. We didn't fail the world then. And we can't. I don't believe we can fail the world right now too. When the onus is coming on us for us to be an instrument of change or an instrument of growth, an instrument of impact for the next set of generation. And so because of that, for me, because my point, my goal of this conversation is to charge us, to let us stop victimizing ourselves and stop carrying the notion of the fact that we are helpless. No more should Africans see themselves as if they are inferior species to the globe. We are instrumental. Our change that is coming is something that can affect our world. Why? Because the next set of generations is going to be depending on us. And so because of that, I'm just going to be giving us 5 things required for us to drive entrepreneurship in the next phase. So here are the 5 things for us to build lasting change through entrepreneurship. Here are the 5 things I mean. For us to build that lasting change where we can influence our world as the world depends on us for survival. The first thing, I've coined everything into an acronym called SCALE. It's true that in Africa we have entrepreneurs, a lot of SMEs doing something, but it's time to scale. So SCALE. So the S stands for start. That is, start now. Start small, start now. It's okay to start. Start small. It's okay to start small. It's okay to start now. There's no need to wait till your idea becomes grandiose. There's no need to wait till all the resources are available. Should I tell you something? You will never be 100% prepared. You need to start now. Sit down, coin the idea, write it out, and start. When you start, everything you need will come to you. So one of the quotes that has blessed me is I stumbled on a post on Twitter. It said, if you go from houses to houses asking for a pair of running shoes, you will not get anyone to lend you. You will not even get anyone to give you. But the moment you start running, people start offering you running shoes. So it's time for us to stop talking as Africans and start now. Start doing. We need to start small. We need to start now. We don't need to wait till later. There will never be a better economic time for us to start. In fact, people who are able to transform their world are people who are able to transform their world in spite of the challenges. So we need to start now. S again is for starting. Start now. Start small. Then the C means collaborate. Enough of us doing competitive race of wanting to be the first person to do this, the first person to do that. It won't take us anywhere. I'm a student of biochemistry, or I'm a graduate of biochemistry. One of the things that I learned when we're in school is that before they teach us anything, before we can do anything, they teach us the history. In my mind, I'm like, why are you teaching me the history of the discovery of an atom? Why do I need to know what J.J. Rutherford has done? Why? Why do I need to know what Robert Millikan has done? I don't want to know. But then in retrospect, I now realize that you cannot build if you don't know what your predecessors have done. So we lay foundations, we build blocks on the foundation that has been laid by our predecessors. Now that's to tell you the culture of the forward-thinking Westerners. They care so much about collaboration. So Africans, we need to stop competing. We need to start collaborating. We need to start forming partnerships. We need to start coming together to build things so that we can save and contribute our world to our world when it's our time, because it's actually our time. We need to stop competing against each other. Oh, this person has done this, so I want to go for it too. Come on, we don't need that. We've done that all this while, that didn't help us. Oh, this state is better than this state. Oh, this country is better than this country. We don't need that. What we need to do is come together in spite of our differences and collaborate. The A is adapt. The next set of entrepreneurs need to learn how to adapt. The world is fast changing. Technology is on the way. AI is on the way. Yet we're suffering from war in Israel and Gaza, war in Russia and Ukraine. But regardless of that, so the economic downturn we are seeing caused by the war is affecting every country. Yes, but we need to learn to adapt. There will never be a favorable time. So that means at every point in time, you might need to go back to your drawing board to see, so how do I do this? Don't forget, you have started small. And as you start small, you start thinking of how to collaborate. And as you collaborate, the next thing you're thinking of is how to adapt to the opposite circumstances of life, to the opposite circumstances of economic situations, to the opposite circumstances of political situations, to the opposite circumstances of different industries that could be triggered by anything anywhere in the world. So we need to learn how to adapt. The L stands for learning. We need to learn. Enough of those days where entrepreneurs just think they know it all on their own. You need to be on the cutting edge of your industry. If you are in tech, it's time for you to start embracing the possible impact, the possible opportunities that are in AI. If you are in banking, there's nothing stopping you to create solutions that requires you creating solutions with AI. These are the days where we need to learn global business practices. It's okay to start small, but it's not allowed for you to remain small. I'm an advocate of start small, but you're not permitted to remain small. So that means you need to learn. So you need to learn how to increase your productivity by putting things in place in terms of operations, by doing so many backward integration, doing so many horizontal integration, whatever it is that you need to do it. Learn. We need to stop believing that we know it all. No one knows it all. So you need to learn. If you need to travel, go back to school again. If you need to take online course just to do it, please do. We need to learn. And the last E, the last alphabet, which is E, stands for expansion. You need to think expansion. You need to think expansion. If you want to expand, you must think of expansion through marketing. How to market your product to the people in your community, how to market your product to the people in your state, how to market your product to the people in your region, how to market your product to the people in your country, and not just that, how to market your product to the people in your continent, and lastly, how to market your product to the people all around the world. We need to learn expansion. We are not going to remain small. We're not going to influence our world if we think small. It's okay to start small. So I'm going to do a recap. Start now. Don't wait till tomorrow. If I were you, I'm going to leave this event and I'm going to sit down and say, okay, fine. How do I start? Start now. The next one is to collaborate. So as you start thinking of who to collaborate with. You might need to collaborate with the sellers. You might need to collaborate with the suppliers. You might need to collaborate with key stakeholders. Just collaborate. And the next one is for you to adapt. There will be changes. You see a lot of there's something we call in street parlance in Nigeria. We call it shege. You see shege, but you need to learn to adapt. And the last thing, the L is to learn principles, learn global best practices, learn from the best in your field. Don't settle for less. Expand. We're not going to change our world without expansion. We're not going to feed the country when we have SMEs. SMEs, I know the impact of SMEs in our country, but we need to move from the level of being small and medium enterprises to move on to the next level. And with that, I'm going to be ending my session with you with just a quote by Bill Gates. It says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So we need to learn how to start. However, if you start with your mind focused on how to collaborate, how to adapt, learning the right principles and expansion, you'll be shocked at what you will do in 10 years. We need to also learn how to play the long-term game. Enough of us trying to start business and we're thinking of exiting in the first 3 years. No. It's shocking in Africa. You don't get to see business that have been handed over from sons, from fathers to sons, generational business. You don't get to see it. But you see businesses in US, in UK, you see business like Bata that they've been for years, handed it over to their children, and their children is going to continue. You see wine companies that have been from years to generation. We need to think long term. It's okay to start small. But when you start small, you're starting with the consciousness of the fact that you're not going to be small. So you are thinking long term. We need to start building businesses that we can hand over from generation to generations. Africa needs to build businesses that can sustain, that can be transferred from one generation to another. We need to think of solutions that will not just last our lifetime, that we can also hand over to our children. So what am I telling you today? I'm telling you to please start. Start small. Start now. However, think collaboration. Think adapting to the situation, adaptability. Think learning the best global practices required for you to scale. And E is for you to expand. Start. And one more thing I'm going to conclude with today is, how do I start? How do I start? How would you start? I'm going to tell you something. As a person, I really believe in passion, fine. But to be honest, some passions are not going to give us the change we need in Africa. So for you to start, you need to look for problems in your surroundings that interest you. Look for problems in your surroundings that interest you. So for you, it may be, you see someone who needs a laptop, or for you, it could be someone who is struggling to get a job, something that interests you, and find a solution to that problem. There are doesn't have problems in Africa. In fact, I can tell you, if there's any place to make money, it is Africa, because we have a lot of problems, and it's in that problem that we have money, and it's in that problem that we can create the solutions that our world requires. And so what does that mean? You should start from where you are. Look for problems in your surroundings that interest you and start. Start now. Focus on solving those problems. And as you do those, as you create those thoughts, as you take those steps, you will start seeing how to amplify the ideas, how to modify the ideas, and make the best out of them. And so with this, I want to tell you again, I'm going to do a recap again of everything I've said so far. First, I'm telling you that in the year 2050, the world is going to be depending on us for expansion, for their need. The global population will be depending on us. Why? Because 1 in every 4 individuals on earth will be an African. 25% of global individuals are going to be Africans in the year 2050. Then I'm saying that means that because we're also going to be a young population, our median age at that 2030 is 19.9. So we're not just going to be very much, we are also going to be young. So if we are young and we are much, that means we are going to be the source of the global human capital required. And that means that we need to start thinking how to solve those problems so that we don't fail our world, and not just our world, we don't fail our generations, our children coming after us, and we also don't fail ourselves. So I'm also saying, for you to do that, for us to do that, we need to learn how to scale. It's true, we have businesses, we have banks, yes, we have industries, but they're not enough. So we need to learn how to scale. And how can we scale? We scale by starting small, we scale by collaborating, we scale by adapting, we scale by learning global best practices, and we scale by thinking of expansion, by expanding. And for us to do that, if we can do every of those things, by the time our world is depending on us, not only will we survive, but we'll show ourselves to be worthy of the accolades that we once had years ago in Egypt, when Egypt was known as the global world power. Our time is now. I hope you can take your time to contribute value to solving the problems of our continent and even of our globe. The world is counting on you. The world is counting on Peter. The world is counting on you. And I hope that together we can make Africa and the world proud. Thank you very much for joining us. Do enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thank you.